Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. I am Ken Bator, your host for Branding the Experience, with a special show today, episode 160. Now, you usually think 150 is special or 200. 160 is special just simply because I think that it's a landmark like 150. It's a great number to hit, like I talked about in Cool Culture Corner, which is also at episode 160. Some podcasts and shows only last about 16 shows, and here we've got 160. So thank you to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers, and all the folks that give feedback on Branding the Experience. Really appreciate that, and you make this particular show continue to run. So thank you again. Our subject today is on, yes, B+C+S still applies to your business. Now, this is one in response to a recent consumer incident that I had, which I'm going to talk about, and also builds upon page 48 in chapter 2 of my book, where I say, yes, B+C+S applies to your business too. And in that particular section of my book, The Formula for Business Success equals B+C+S, still applies today in COVID-19. So if you want to buy a copy, I highly suggest it. But in that section, in that chapter, I talk about the fact that, all of you doctors, dentists, chiropractors, anybody in the medical field, you're still providing an experience. As I mentioned in past shows, as I mentioned in the book, I've probably fired more medical professionals in my life than anybody else. Because I actually believe, since I serve service-based businesses, and at its very core, I know you're professional, I know you have a specific expertise, you got tons of degrees and so forth, but at its core, you're a business that provides a service. And you're not the only dentist, you're not the only chiropractor, you're not the only dermatologist, you're not the only doctor out there, period. So if I have a less than at least meets expectations experience, I'm going someplace else. I recently had one of those. And so I want to talk about not only branding the experience, but also tell you folks to watch out there. I have a bad back. Many of you as viewers or listeners to my other shows know that. I had to stop running about 5 years ago because I could barely walk. Fortunately, my beautiful wife, who's in healthcare, found me a terrific chiropractor. His name is Dr. Greg Spees, who I saw for years, got me back to walking and exercising, got me from a level 8, 9, 10 pain to consistently about a 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 pain, but nothing that I couldn't deal with. Did an excellent job. Really enjoyed working with him and appreciate all the help that he gave. In the wake of COVID-19, he decided to move back to his home state. Kudos to him. Wish nothing but the best for him and his family. But that left me without a chiropractor. So for months, I hadn't seen anybody, and as you would suspect, while fortunately my back didn't completely collapse, I was starting to have some issues without some continual care. And so my wife found me a new chiropractor who is 180 degrees different from Dr. Spees, and he needs to hear this. Now, it's been about, I want to say, 4 or 5 weeks since this incident, and I deliberately took this time between this confrontation because one, I was very angry, and number two, I didn't want to break my rule of mentioning the name of the business. I've only done that twice. I did that with, I believe, American Airlines and maybe Marriott in the past. But in many other instances, I rarely break my rule of when it's going to be a negative example that I don't mention the name of the business, because the purpose of this show is to learn and to help other service-based businesses learn how to brand the experience the right way. So when I offer a negative experience, yes, it is a little bit cathartic that I get to rant. I have my show, I can rant on it. But the other purpose is to learn from negative behavior so that we don't do those things. I always believed when I was managing people or trying to go from management to leadership, frankly, that sometimes I could learn more from learning what not to do than necessarily learning what to do. So I think that's the same thing that I'm trying to get across here. When I give you a negative example, it's not to disparage the business, which is why I don't mention it. It's to learn what not to do. So anyhow, to try to make a long story, because you know I can ramble, a little bit shorter, the appointment setting process was a challenge in and of itself with this particular chiropractor. It took literally, I want to say, 2 or 3 emails and at least 3 phone calls to actually get an appointment. So much as I say with branding is much like the emotional bank account that Stephen Covey talks about in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Here I am at a zero. I don't know this chiropractor. I'm trying to set an appointment and give him my business, and he's already creating an experience. His business is creating an experience where this is an obstacle and an issue. So you're already working from a negative. I'm already pissed off that I can't just make an appointment and go in. So that was already a negative. I went to my appointment, had to fill out a bunch of paperwork, which I understand that happens at doctor's offices. I completely understand why they need to do that. But that was very clunky. It was obvious the person working behind the counter didn't really know what he was doing. Had to give me another sheet. Oh, you have to fill this out too. And then, of course, my ultimate pet peeve is I had an appointment at 5 o'clock, got there at 4:45, and at 5:30 still hadn't seen the chiropractor. Sorry to all of you doctors out there. I understand sometimes there's emergencies. I know there was not an emergency at this particular chiropractor's office. Uh, so your time and my time are just as important. Your time as a PhD, as an MD, whatever letters that you have on the back of your name, does not make your time more important than mine, period. So what that does is now that's another negative in the branded experience or poorly branded experience at this business. So I'm already walking in with a negative as I'm seeing this particular chiropractor. And I'm trying to, in my own way, say, all right, yeah, this gentleman, who is obviously the owner of the business, the main piece of this brand, even though this business has an overdrawn emotional bank account with me, this individual could still make this all right. He can make an immediate deposit and say, hey, I'm sorry that it took some time. I'm happy to see you. Let's talk about what you're dealing with. Let's talk about where your pain is. Let's talk about what you did with your other chiropractor. That didn't happen. The very first conversation was, we have a problem with your insurance. And we got into an insurance discussion. So it was obvious that he cared more about his business than my particular care. Now, for all those folks that are saying, hey, you should care about your business. Absolutely. I think that you should care about your business as much as the care for your patient. Not more, not less, but as much. as the care for your patient. To begin with, well, I'm worried about getting paid. I don't even care if you can't even walk. I want to know what's going on here. And basically, what this doctor was doing, and I know that there are a number of other medical professionals that do this, and it's just plain wrong. So I encourage you, all you folks out there that are seeing a doctor, I'm sure many of you are, watch out for what healthcare professionals call balance billing. Now, what this individual was doing is balance billing. Some may say it's illegal. We've got some questions on that. At the very, very least, I truly feel 100% it's immoral and unethical. And basically, what balance billing is that they charge you as the patient their rate, not the contracted rate with your insurance, but their rate, and then put the onus on you to go to the insurance and possibly, if it's a $100 visit, get $45 or $50 back from the insurance company. And now the doctor is not following the contracted rate with your insurance company, which they are supposed to be doing, but charging this larger rate for his business. It's just simply wrong. For all of you doctors out there, if you want to charge just your rate, then don't contract with an insurance company and don't take those patients and just charge people directly, because what you're doing is plain unethical, even if it isn't illegal and there's a question on that. So that was a terrible, terrible branded experience. I told that doctor exactly what I thought of his business, even outside of the balance billing. Every single step was a negative experience for me. And if I wouldn't put up with that with a restaurant, with a financial institution, with a hair salon, and I haven't seen one of those in a while, if I wouldn't put up with a negative, an overdrawn emotional bank account from the very beginning of that branded experience, if I wouldn't do that with another service business, then why in the heck would I do that with a doctor, somebody who is going to be working on my spine to make me feel better, hopefully? And that was not something I was going to do. I walked out of there. I threatened to Yelp about it. I'm not going to do that. Anybody in the Long Beach area that wants to contact me personally and ask about this individual as a consumer, I'm more than happy to share. But on this show, I will not mention his particular name. But I will say, watch out for balance billing and very, very poor businesses that are running themselves as a medical professional type of a business. Really, really look out for that, because B+C+S, brand culture and strategy alignment, applies to your business too. I don't care if you have an MD or whatever letters that you have on the back of your name. It applies to you too as a business. Now, as a positive example, I now have a terrific chiropractor, one that is at least as good as my doctor, Greg Spees, who took care of me for years. His particular name is Dr. Douglas Poff, in Seal Beach, California. And as a positive example of a branded experience, getting the appointment was extremely easy. I was greeted wholeheartedly and warmly at my first visit by Kim, the administrative professional. If I got her title wrong, I apologize. But was greeted very, very warmly, made me feel welcome right from the start. And with the insurance, the doctor says, you know what, it's obvious that you know what you want done, and we'll bill your insurance directly. That's not a problem. Let Kim take care of that. I want to take care of you. And what an awesome feeling. What a way to, at the very beginning, build a positive balance in the emotional bank account. Not only am I getting care for my back issue, but I look forward to going to my appointments with Dr. Poff because they've made me feel so welcome. And at the very, very end of the day, isn't that what branding the experience is? Making everybody feel welcome. You know, it's obvious that the people working in his office, Dr. Poff's office, actually are having some fun, actually enjoy working there. Yeah, and doesn't that make it so much more enjoyable for the patient, customer, client, member, whoever you're working with? So B+C+S, whether you're a medical professional, whether you're an attorney, whether you're a financial institution, financial advisor, restaurant, hair salon, if you're providing a service and the experience is as or more important than the product that you're selling, then think about how you can make a deposit in the people you serve in their emotional bank account right from the start. And of course, watch out for those balance billers out there. It's just simply wrong. They should be billing your insurance company, not you directly. Period. If you have insurance. So, thanks for spending a little bit of time on my rant there. I am going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus from branding the experience, at least throughout the month of September, as I work on a couple of other things. I will be back with episodes 161 and counting later this fall. Don't have a specific date yet. But what I will be doing is I'm working on a couple of online courses. One tied to my new joint venture with Sean Douglas of Success Core, a great individual, runs a podcast called Life Transformation Radio. Also helps people launch podcasts. He's also active Air Force right now, so thank you to our military and thank you, Sean. But we're going to be developing a podcast for business success course, online course. We're going to be selling that for, I believe, $27.97 before the launch. After the launch, it's going to be $99.97. So if you want a DIY, do-it-yourself podcast instruction, get in on this when it's just $29.97, not when it's $99.97. Save yourself a couple of bucks and get some great insight on that course from both Sean and myself, two icons of influence. Many of you know I also write for Podcast Magazine, so we can give you some real insight in that course for launching your podcast. And of course, if you need some one-on-one assistance, we have the newly launched podcast for business success package, which we are offering at $29.97, $29.97, not $29.97, $29.97, and would love to talk to you about that if you want one-on-one instruction in launching your podcast, and also beforehand really digging into your brand culture and strategy so your podcast is in complete alignment with your brand culture and strategy and not just some type of an offshoot. And I'll also be working on the B+C+S formula online course. So if you want to get in on that early, that is also $29.97 to $29.97 to get that course before it launches. It will be $99.97 after the launch. So again, save yourself some money, especially given the fact that I know strategic planning is kind of shut down in person. The B+C+S formula course can give you a nice foundation to DIY this for your own business. So if you're interested in pre-launch pricing for either of those online courses, please reach out to me at kbator, Bator, at btcinc.net, and we will give you more information on that and get you on the list for the pre-launch of either of those courses or both, possibly. And would love to talk to you more about that, especially if you need a little bit more assistance on either of those programs. But I will be back with you with branding the experience later on in the fall. And in that time, here's hoping that, as always, you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Take care.